Coville's After the Third Kiss. My own maiden's voice, rising from my massive dragon chest, I whisper hissed, "Set down your sword, my brother sweet, and think not to slay me now, for I am your sister, your May Margaret, and not but your kiss can set me free." Wine stared at me in astonishment and called me both demon and liar. But when I whispered to him of secrets from our past, childish intimacies that only he and I could know, he understood that I spoke the truth. "What must I do to break the spell?" my winsome brother asked. "Kiss me thrice ere set of sun, and I'll your sister be." Wine paled, nor could I blame him. I knew too well from gazing into streams and ponds how hideous I was, with teeth like daggers, shield like scales of fiery red, and blazing eyes set in a head the size of a coracle. Yet far worse than all this was the heat of my breath, for though I tried to hold it in, it seared my brother's skin as he drew near. He, brave brother, ignored the pain and kissed me on the lips, his mouth as small to mine as a gnat's would be to his. Nothing happened, save the blistering of his fair skin. Again I begged, and again he kissed. Thus the blisters multiplied, and this time he cried out with the pain. The sun was sinking, and with it my hopes. Wine turned to me once more, and I nearly screamed at the sight of his seared skin. Only the knowledge that such a burst of breath from my lungs would wound him even worse gave me the strength to withhold my cry of pity. "Please, brother," I whispered one last time. Skin blackening, hair smoking, weeping with pain, Wine leaned in and kissed me a third time, and now the pain was mine, for bones and skin did in reverse what they had done before, twisting and shrinking as I turned back to the maiden I once was. In but moments I stood naked before my blistered brother, who wrapped his cloak around me, then swept me into his arms and carried me to the castle. But it was not yet time to rest or heal, for there was one more task to accomplish, and this Wine did with ease and grace, despite the pain of his burns. Taking a wand of rowan wood, he mounted the tower stairs to where our stepmother, knowing her doom was upon her, sat waiting. It took no spell, no conjuration for Wine to work his will. He merely struck her once with the wand. I was holding his hand when he did so, and felt an odd pull, as if something, the transformative magic I later learned, was leaving me. Our stepmother's eyes widened. She cried out once, then began her own metamorphosis, mouth widening, eyes bulging, skin erupting with warts. She shriveled down, till she was the largest and most loathsome toad I had ever seen. I wanted to drop a heavy book upon her, but Wine stayed my hand. I am glad now that he did, and she fled, hopping away down the tower stairs. And that should have been the end of it, save for one thing. I began to miss the fire inside me. It did not happen right away, might not have happened at all, had Wine not stayed and claimed the throne. But not long after my return, our aged and ailing father learned the truth of my enchantment, despite our attempts to hide it from him. Realizing at last what a horror he had married, he went half mad from brooding on what his bride had done to his daughter. It hurt Wine and me deeply to see this man, who in our youth had fought and won such a ferocious war with the neighboring kingdoms, slump and grow weak. Despite our attempts to rouse him, in a month he took to his bed. A few days later he gave up the ghost. Wind, no longer child, Wind, now that father was dead, set aside his plans to roam the world. As was both his right and his duty, he claimed the crown. I was happy at this, and at first there was nothing but loving amity between us. As well there might have been, for we had both dear companions from earliest childhood. Yet one sad thing did stand between us. His beautiful face never did heal properly, and there remained always afterward deep scars from the terrible burns. He never, not once, spoke of this, or in any way blamed me for them, but I flinched every time I saw his face. This was not only because the scars made him ugly to me, but because I knew it was I who had put them there. To make matters worse, I myself was considered more beautiful than ever. Many were the comments on my sparkling eyes, my rosy complexion, and the deep red of my long shimmering tresses. I alone knew that these were but outward signs of the new energy and vitality I felt within, an unexpected gift from my endragonment. I used this beauty and energy to regain the trust of the castle servants. Glenna, my lady-in-waiting, was first to lose her fear. Soon enough, she brought the others along. After a year of wise and fruitful reign, all the kingdoms hoped that Wind would wed, and no neighboring princes there were, I think, who would have refused his hand despite his scars, for he was kind and courteous, and really still quite beautiful, at least to my eyes. But women know things about what moves the heart to love that men do not, and my poor brother, thinking himself restricted from the paths of love by his ravaged face, never understood what he could have had. Women know, too, what goes on backstairs, and a rumor was that though Wind tried many times, he could not get a woman with child. The dragon's breath, it was said, had unmanned him.